There are television icons from every generation. Some quietly step away, fading from the spotlight without fanfare. Not every departure is grand, but sometimes someone does something that captures everyone's attention, even if only for a moment. That's what happened to viewers who tuned in that morning expecting to see Kelly Ripa, a familiar face in their living rooms for more than 2 decades. They were ready for her bright smile, quick wit, and warm personality. What they got instead was something unexpected, something far more powerful and heartfelt. It didn't come through a press release or a tabloid scoop. It came live, on air, in front of millions. Kelly Ripa announced she was leaving. No glamour, no act, just tears. No one had rehearsed it. It was real. Tonight, we look back at that unforgettable farewell, the reasons behind it, the emotions that came with it, the legacy she leaves behind, and what it truly means when a television mainstay says, "This is my last show." This story is about more than news. It's about change, courage, and the bittersweet beauty of moving on. Kelly Ripa was more than a television star. Since 2001, she's been a defining voice of morning TV. First alongside Regis Philbin, then Michael Strahan, Ryan Seacrest, and most recently with her husband Mark Consuelos. 4 million Americans, sipping their morning coffee before work, didn't just see a host on their screens. They saw someone who felt like family. Her humor, charm, and energy were contagious. But those same qualities made her goodbye hit even harder. When someone like Kelly steps away, it's not just a show ending. It's the end of an era, leaving behind an empty chair where a familiar presence once sat. Few in the audience knew she had been quietly preparing for this day. Rumors had swirled for weeks. Was Kelly ready to step down? Would she leave the spotlight behind? Those who paid close attention saw small clues, nostalgic stories, quiet pauses, moments when she let her co-host take the lead. The signs were there, but few imagined such an emotional farewell. On the morning of her final broadcast, Kelly arrived at the studio earlier than usual. Her longtime team noticed how calm she was. She greeted everyone warmly, but there was a softness to her voice. She paused at the iconic desk, placing her hand on the surface that had held 2 decades of laughter, tears, and connection. This wasn't just a set, it was home. When the cameras rolled, she began to speak, her voice trembling. She thanked the audience, the crew, her co-host, and the viewers who had supported her for over 20 years. Her eyes filled with tears. She stopped briefly, trying to steady herself. Applause filled the room, and many wiped their eyes. Then she said the words no one was prepared to hear. "This is my last show." The room gasped. Viewers at home froze. Kelly Ripa, the woman who'd been part of their mornings for years, was leaving. Behind this choice were private battles few knew about. While fans saw a vibrant, witty host, behind the scenes she faced exhaustion, long hours, and the endless balancing act of being both a public figure and a devoted mother. The early mornings, the constant pressure to smile, the weight of expectation, it all added up. She had spoken before about wanting to give her best to her family, just as she gave it to the show. Her children were grown now, building their own lives, and she felt a powerful pull to be there for them in a new way, not as the busy TV mom racing off to set, but as their mother who had time for lunch, late-night talks, and quiet weekends. Physically, the toll was undeniable. 2 decades of 4 a.m. alarms, daily makeup chairs, and constant high energy had worn her down. After more than 5,000 shows, burnout was real. Her decision was a quiet rebellion, a reminder that rest isn't a luxury, it's a necessity, even for powerhouses like Kelly Ripa. When she made her announcement, all eyes turned to Mark Consuelos. His surprise was genuine. Though he stood by her as her husband and co-host, this moment was hers alone. He reached out and held her hand, silent, strong, supportive. The studio fell quiet, sharing in the intimacy of that moment. What followed was raw emotion. The producers rolled a surprise tribute, a montage of Kelly's best moments, from her early days with Regis to her funniest unscripted moments. Messages from former co-hosts like Michael Strahan and Ryan Seacrest poured in, celebrating her humor, professionalism, and kindness. Celebrity friends and longtime guests shared their love. Kelly sat with Mark, tears streaming down her face, feeling both the ache of an ending and the gratitude of a remarkable journey. Her legacy wasn't just ratings or years on air. She changed what it meant to be a morning host. She wasn't just reading a teleprompter. She was real, sharing her stories, struggles, and joys with honesty that made millions feel seen.